my channel. In today's video, I am going to do 4 quick and easy family dinners that are always a crowd pleaser and that your toddler will eat. Well, at least she'll try. Mine eats this definitely. I'm gonna give you 4 simple dinners with easy ingredients. I'll link to a past video right here where I recently did a grocery haul and I'm utilizing some of the ingredients that I did in my grocery haul. Now, I meal plan and I love meal planning, but we all know that sometimes plans change. And this week plans did change because my little monkey actually requested a certain meal. So on the menu tonight, we have butter chicken with garlic naan bread. We also have homemade tomato soup and grilled cheese sandwiches. We have homemade meatballs with mashed potatoes and mushroom gravy. And then everybody's favorite comfort food, spaghetti and homemade meat sauce. So stay tuned in the video. I'm gonna walk you step by step through all of these recipes that are all kid-friendly, family-approved, and comfort food because we are going through a cold snap here, and when it's cold out, we need comfort food that'll keep us warm and cozy. If you're new to my channel, my name is Angela and I like to do videos on all things about motherhood, family, lifestyle, and homemaking. So I would love it if you would click that like and subscribe button and also hit that notification bell. Okay, let's get into this video and get cooking. So for tonight's dinner, it is Saturday night, nowhere to go. It's cold, it started snowing, and Ava asked for pasta, which I have no problem with, and she asked for mommy's pasta, so I'm gonna make my spaghetti bolognese. However, I'm not gonna make my usual recipe. I am gonna change it up a little bit and add more veggies. So I will show you what I'm using. Part of that grocery haul. I'm gonna use that diced vegetable mix. So this has onions, celery, carrots, and peppers already pre-chopped. So any way to sneak in extra veggies, I'm all down for. Then I have some extra lean ground beef that we get from our butcher shop. Can of diced tomatoes with Italian spices. I have the spaghetti sauce. This isn't my usual sauce that I make, so I'm just doctoring up this recipe. Then Ava and Mirek are gonna have regular spaghetti noodles, but I'm gonna try these butternut squash zoodles. And then this is Ava's favorite garlic toast that I'm gonna cook up for us. Everybody has their own special bolognese sauce. This is just what I'm gonna do for tonight's family recipe. It's always a guaranteed win for Ava, especially on a cold, cold night. So this is my tip for you guys. When I'm cooking, I always have a bowl with like a garbage bag or something in it so that when I have scraps like pieces of garlic that I'm not using, I can pop that in my bowl instead of having to go back and forth to my garbage can. So for this recipe, I'm gonna start off with sauteing my vegetable mixture in a tiny little bit of olive oil. Then to that, I'm gonna add in 2 cloves of crushed garlic. I love my garlic press, and doing this spaghetti, it actually broke, so now I need a new garlic press. But if there's one kitchen gadget that I recommend for you guys, get yourself a garlic press. You know what, I'm trying to add more veggies to everything that we eat. So I have some sliced mushrooms. I'm not gonna put too many in because Ava's not a fan, but I thought I never add mushrooms to my spaghetti sauce. So I'm gonna try and add some mushrooms, and then because it's Saturday night, a cheeky little glass of red wine. Next up, I'm adding these mushrooms, and then I'm just gonna use the end of my spatula to break up the mushrooms into smaller pieces. Everybody knows that with little ones, the smaller you can make the veggies, the better. Then I'm gonna take this lean ground beef and I'm just going to brown it up in my saute pan and add some Italian seasoning to it. Then I'm gonna open up this 28-ounce can of diced tomatoes. I'm gonna combine that all together, and then to that, I'm also gonna add in 1 jar of spaghetti sauce. It can be any spaghetti sauce that you guys like. Then tip for you, I always put in a tiny bit of water and shake up my spaghetti sauce jar to get every little bit of tomato sauce out. I'm gonna combine that together and then let that sit on the stove top, simmering away for about an hour. Next up, I'm going to start cooking my spaghetti noodles. You guys can use this with penne, whatever you like. Everybody has their own spaghetti recipe, and this is just what we use. For myself, I boiled up these butternut squash noodles. It took literally 3 minutes in hot boiling water, and then I'm gonna top it off with this meat sauce. And then for Ava and Mirek, my husband, they're gonna get regular old spaghetti noodles. As you can see, this meal is always a win. So tonight is another freezing night outside. Mirk and I have been working nonstop all day at home. Little Ava's been good as gold. We've done homeschool. So tonight is a night that we definitely want something warm, but we want some shortcuts. So we are gonna have butter chicken and garlic naan bread. Now for this butter chicken, I'm gonna show you this secret sauce that I use. This is from Costco, and I swear by this sauce. This is some of the best butter chicken sauce I've ever had. I swear to you guys, this sauce is so good. So this is the KFI butter chicken premium cooking sauce. You get this in a pack of 2 at Costco. It is so delicious. Now what I do is I add in some frozen cauliflower to that. I find that cauliflower really suits curries and butter chicken recipes. And I still have some leftover rotisserie chicken. There's an amazing shortcut right there. I'm not even having to cook my chicken from scratch. So I'm gonna have rotisserie chicken, put in the sauce, which will get it nice and soft and delicious again. I'm also gonna pop this garlic naan bread in my oven to warm it up and cook up some basmati rice, and we have something warm and cozy, and it didn't take me too long. Okay, so next up, I am going to place this garlic naan bread from the Real Canadian Superstore. It's the President's Choice brand, and it is to die for. It is so good. So I'm just gonna place this on a cookie sheet and cook it at 350 degrees, but I'm gonna show you a trick in a minute. Next up, I'm gonna get my basmati rice going in my rice cooker. I highly recommend that you guys get a rice cooker. It's foolproof, and I always get great rice every single time. Now, a trick for this is that I always add equal amounts of water to rice. I'm cooking up a little bit more rice because I always like to use it in other recipes during the week. All right, now I'm just gonna turn it on and leave it alone. Next up, I'm gonna add in some olive oil to my saute pan. I'm gonna use up the last of this frozen diced onion. As these onions are browning, I'm gonna get my rotisserie chicken ready. On the back of the butter chicken sauce bottle, I always follow the directions, but today I'm just using a leftover rotisserie chicken. I would say it's probably half of a rotisserie chicken that I've diced up. You can use it to taste. You don't even need to add chicken or meat if that's not your thing. Rotisserie chickens for me are always such a time saver. I use them in so many meals. I never leave the grocery store without one. So I'm gonna warm up this chicken. It's time to add in that butter chicken sauce and get that nice and bubbling. I'm gonna let that simmer away for about 5 to 7 minutes. Oh, my house smells so good. I love butter chicken. And when I can't have takeout, this is just as good. All right, so I have taken my frozen cauliflower and it's defrosted just a tiny bit sitting on the counter. I'm just gonna take my kitchen shears and I'm going to dice it up into small pieces because remember, for toddlers and for husbands who don't like vegetables, the smaller you cut them up, the less they will notice them. Now that the cauliflower is combined in my butter chicken sauce, I'm gonna let everything sit together and saute, let that cauliflower defrost even more and cook up in the butter chicken. Now, to get this garlic naan bread back into shape, I like to sprinkle a little bit of water over top before I place that in the oven. It only takes a few minutes in the oven for it to get nice and bubbly and warm, but you cannot have butter chicken without naan bread. For my little one, she gets a little bit of rice and the sauce with some garlic naan bread, and she will gobble this up. For a nice fast trick to cut up the naan bread, I always use a pizza cutter. It works every single time. And there we have it, butter chicken with garlic naan bread and hidden cauliflower. Middle of winter, so it is a freezing night outside. I have my vest on inside, I'm so cold. It is -24, so we live in Canada, so -24 is very cold. So what else do you have on a cold night but grilled cheese and tomato soup? I am making homemade tomato soup, so I'm gonna share my recipe with you. Oh, I'm making homemade tomato soup today, and it is so simple to make, so I will show you guys how I make it. To the pot, I'm gonna add roughly a tablespoon of olive oil and 1 onion diced up. And so again, I'm using those frozen diced onions, you guys. I don't know why you're hesitating. Run to the store and grab bags of these. You will not be disappointed. To those onions, I'm also gonna add in 3 cloves of minced garlic. Now, depending on the size of your cloves, I only needed 2 because my cloves are quite big, but don't worry, it will not be overpowering. I'm gonna let that all saute together in the pan and get nice and brown. To that, I'm gonna add in 2 28-ounce cans of whole tomatoes. These whole tomatoes have some herbs and spices already in them. You can get plain whole tomatoes, whatever you prefer. Once you've added in your cans of whole tomatoes, you're gonna take a potato masher and mash up all the tomatoes as much as you can. Don't worry about getting it too smooth. You just wanna break up all the tomatoes. Then to that, I'm adding in a little bit more than a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. You can also add in oregano or a bay leaf. You can also add in crushed red pepper flakes. Obviously, Ava's not a big spice man, so I didn't add that, but really it's to your taste. That's the best thing about this soup recipe. Next up, I'm going to put in half a cup of heavy cream. You can also use half and half or milk. I've tried it with both, and it's better with the heavy cream. Stir that all together, and then I'm also going to add in a tablespoon of brown sugar. The sugar really helps to offset the acidity of the tomatoes. Let that come to a boil. Next, I'm going to take up my immersion blender. I love this gadget so much. It's a KitchenAid one and it is so great. And I'm going to blend up all of my soup to the consistency that my family and I like. If you want it really smooth, you can also put it into a blender, but this immersion blender, it does the job every single time. Once everything is nice and smooth, I'm going to add in 3/4 cup of low sodium vegetable broth. Stir that all together so that it's nice and velvety. Make sure you taste your soup throughout this process. So I felt I needed a little bit more salt, so I added some in. I didn't need too much, just make sure you season it to your taste. And then grilled cheese sandwiches. I didn't feel like I needed to show you how to make a grilled cheese. Everybody has their own way. I have a sandwich press that I used, which is why you can see those panini lines on there. But classic American cheese for this family. Nothing screams comfort food more than classic tomato soup and grilled cheese on a cold, cold winter's night. So it is Tuesday night and it is time to make dinner. Now, Ava actually requested, which is very rare for her, she requested something that was not a part of my meal plan, which is okay. She really wants mashed potatoes and meatballs. So I have some leftover mushrooms. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make some homemade mashed potatoes, meatballs, and some mushroom gravy. She absolutely loves meatballs and she never asked for mashed potatoes. So you know what? Sometimes your meal plans don't work out and that's okay. So I'm utilizing some ingredients that I have. And let's see what I can come up with. All right, so for the mashed potatoes, I'm actually gonna only peel about 4 potatoes, just give them a rough chop and throw them in a pot with some water ready to put on the stove. Next up, the meatballs. I'm gonna add in some garlic powder, some onion powder, and then 1 egg and a splash of milk. I'm gonna use some lean ground beef for these meatballs, and then I'm also gonna add in some seasoned breadcrumbs. I add in just about 1/4 cup of seasoned breadcrumbs, not too much. Then also I add in some salt and pepper. This little gadget here is actually for cookies, but I use it for meatballs because it makes all my meatballs the same size and the same width. And I love that so much. I've had it for years. It's cracked in the back, but I still use it. I'm just gonna roll these meatballs up. I'm gonna pop them in my frying pan just to get a nice brown crust on the outside of the meatballs. Then I'm gonna finish cooking them in the oven. So to fry up these meatballs, I'm just gonna add in a little bit of olive oil and then I'm gonna pop these meatballs into my frying pan at about medium heat. This little guard I have here, it actually used to be my mom's, and it's a grease guard so that the grease doesn't splatter everywhere. It is awesome. All right, now that these meatballs have finished frying, I'm gonna add them into this casserole dish, and then I'm gonna pop them all into the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 minutes. Okay, now I'm not going to get rid of the brown bits that are at the bottom of this pan because that's gonna help for a more flavorful gravy. I'm gonna add in a medium-sized onion, which is my frozen onions again, and as that sautés, I'm gonna turn on my stove for my potatoes to start boiling away. Next up, I'm gonna add in 1 clove of garlic and get that all sautéing together. Once everything has started to turn brown, I'm going to add in those mushrooms. Now again, using the back end of my spatula, I'm just going to break up the mushrooms into smaller pieces. Okay, now I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. And to that, I'm going to add in 4 tablespoons of all-purpose flour and whisk that all together just to get the flour a little bit brown. The flour is going to make for a great gravy consistency. Next up, I'm gonna add in 2 cups of low sodium beef broth. I'm gonna add that in slowly while I'm gonna continue whisking away, trying to get rid of any lumps of flour that I see. Now, a secret ingredient to this gravy is balsamic vinegar, and I'm gonna add in 1 teaspoon of balsamic vinegar. Trust me guys, it gives this gravy such a rich flavor. And then I'm also gonna add in half a teaspoon of sugar and half a teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of dried thyme, and a 1/4 teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper. This just brings all the flavors together and makes for a nice, rich, beautiful mushroom gravy. Okay, so after the meatballs have been in the oven, I'm gonna pull them out and pop them back in this gravy to continue cooking, and all the flavors can meld together. Oh, this was so comforting. I'm telling you, it's not the healthiest of meals, but if you want something warm and cozy, I got ya. So for the mashed potatoes, everybody has their own way of doing mashed potatoes. I don't need to tell you how to do them. Today, I'm not gonna go full-fledged fatty with these mashed potatoes. I'm gonna make them really, really simple because the gravy and the meatballs are so flavorful. I'm just gonna add in some salted butter and a little bit of milk and mash away, and that's it because the gravy is so flavorful. All right, so little Miss Muffet, she's gonna have some peas and carrots and some mashed potatoes and her meatballs. She's gonna be one happy camper. Alright guys, that is it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed these 4 family-friendly meals. Let me know down in the comments below what are some of your family favorites. If you're interested in these types of videos, maybe I'll try it again, do some more family-friendly meals, maybe use some breakfasts and lunches, or show you what my toddler eats throughout the day. Thanks so much for watching guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Mwah!